Okay,
Alright, ready.
I am okay. We just watched one of our cars get towed away. Um, Somebody apparently has been going through our neighborhood stealing catalytic converters. And so ours was taken too. We have a Prius, and apparently it's easy to take the catalytic converter off a Prius. And people have been going through the neighborhood and popping them off of cars. So goody goody. So we had ours done and the neighbor's car too, same night. So we just waved goodbye to our car for the time being. We have a second car, and so getting the first one fixed is fine. We have filed a police report, so the neighbors, we're we don't know when we're going to get the car back from being fixed. We do have insurance, thank goodness. So mostly, my husband's not working right now anyway. I'm really the only one. I mean, we go out for errands, so generally we can get by with one car right now. So we'll just see. But this
Hmm.
is earlier this year. Yeah, I work from home mostly. And so,
Oh,
wow, that's, I wondered about that. On a totally different topic, do you know about the Deaf Improv Facebook Live show on Thursday night. Are you in that?
Yeah.
I know, it just like, it sort of came out of the blue. I mean, I'm Nick Zapko, NIC. Zapko and I are really good friends, Nick. And so the woman, Nick, NIC, Zapko, Zapko. 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 She's here. Nick is the interpreter that's been working with the governor all this time, you know, with the me, what did she text me yesterday or the day before saying, oh boy, it's starting to feel, they're starting to feel the pressure because it's coming up. And I mean, I don't think she's an actor, but she never had really improv training. So it'll be really, I'm going to have such a good time watching them do improv. Well, it's funny because that's how I got my start in sort of deaf theater, was with that same company. It was called Northern Sign Theater, NST. And actually, I think that was when with Nick was with NTD though. She was with the National Theater of the Deaf when she came to Duluth. So she was with NTD for 2 years and did a tour with them. But she and I met before that when she got involved with NST, Northern Sign Theater, because that was how I got into the field. I got cast in a show that for Northern Sign Theater. I didn't really know any sign language, whatever. And we did, you know, we worked together for 6 years. And then Nick and I met there right when I was leaving the company. She was coming into the company. And we've been like buddies ever since. But it's been funny because I've been on her case to become a deaf interpreter for, I don't know, 15 years or something. And she's like, nah, not interested, not interested. And then she started working for Sorensen, started doing more training, started thinking, and then she started just being called in sometimes to help out on phone calls, and found out that she really liked it. And then it turns out, because of course she's an actor like you, she loves that pressure of the live, intense broadcast, got to be clear, got to make sure you have your audience in mind, that pressure. She really likes that kind of work. So she's been loving the work she's doing for the governor. And I think just because of that same thing you like when you're on stage, it's just, you can't be anywhere else. You have to be right there. That's amazing. Yeah, the interpreting thing, well, so I grew up as an actor. And the reason I think I like interpreting is because it's basically the same thing. It's just, it's trying to get into people's heads and understand who they are. And then it's all that text analysis. Sort of, it's like, yeah, I hear the words you're saying, but what does it really mean? You know, the idea that every line has meaning and stuff. And so I like that text analysis work. And all that work that I did as an actor has been so key to everything I've done as an interpreter. And I'm a much better interpreter than I ever was an actor. I'm an okay actor. I'm funny, but I'm not consistent. So that's problematic for me. Okay, okay. So this has got to be really hard because, well, it's interesting because so my parents ran a community theater. So I grew up in community theater. My dad did he was the director of the main season, and my mom ran a children's theater. And I always loved the performing part of it. Um, but as I said, I'm not consistent enough as an actor. So I think my whole deal has been back to community theater. Absolutely. I was kind of going down the circuit towards professional. I was going towards equity, EQUITY as in an organization. I was earning my points and everything. And then I realized I'm a much better interpreter than I am actor. And so I stopped doing all the professional work. And other than that, I do voiceover work now still, but that's about it. But I think, yes, I think I'm going to be the old lady. I'm going to do Arsenic and Old Lace. That'll be me. It's a play called Arsenic and Old Lace. I'll do those, you know, all the little old lady roles. East Tennessee. I actually grew up in East Tennessee. Um, and my family's out of the business now. My dad retired and my mom retired. My dad died several years ago. So they have a new artistic director in TD. They are shut down. They did a virtual benefit. They're doing some, there's a park right outside the theater building. And so I gather they're doing some, like occasionally they'll do scenes and stuff like that out in the park just as a keep people entertained because everybody can be outside and watch things in the park. But I think they've done like everybody, they canceled the season for the rest of the year. Um, when I was growing up, we had 7 main stage shows every year. So my dad directed 7 shows in a row, and he was the technical director. I mean, he was it. He was the entire staff. And then we used volunteers for everything. And then my mom did all of the business management, ran the box office, did a children's drama program. I have no idea. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like when I think about it now, I mean, the same theater has had right now, several people are on furlough, but the same theater has like 4 employees now doing the job that my dad did, and 2 people doing the job my mom did. Plus they have guest directors. So it's like, I have no idea. And I think it's just also, I grew up in a very weird little town, and it we had a lot of people live there that did not have family around. And so we had a huge pile of volunteers. And so, I mean, dad designed the sets, but I swear to God, they were all built by volunteers. And everything backstage was run by volunteers and all that stuff. And I was backstage for, as early as I can remember. So it was it really was community theater. And I just don't think people, especially in that particular town, a lot of people had moved there during the war. It was part of the Manhattan Project in World War II. And so a lot of people had moved there just for that work. So they didn't have family around. And now there's been 3 or 4 generations. So now people are more involved with multiple generations of families and all that stuff. So I just don't think they have the same amount of people to volunteer. So they had to start hiring staff people. But it's still running. It was founded in 1943, I think.
Wow.
In my business, there's no deaf theater left here right now. Not really. I mean, what happened is NST, so that was the one I was involved with, Northern Sign Theater. NST folded in, I left in 93. It folded officially somewhere in 96, 97. And since then, there have been at least 2 attempts to kind of start another community theater, deaf community theater, and neither of them have really worked. It's just really hard without somebody who has arts management background. And so what's happened instead is, I think what's happened in a lot of places, which is mainstream theater companies have had projects on the side, like Nick and Alexandra did a show together, and Alexandra did a show together for Mixed Blood Theater and that kind of thing. But there is no deaf theater per se right now, although at Metro Deaf School, they've been doing they've had theater artists come in and work with the kids there. And I don't know if they've even found out that you're here, because, oh my God, they would die if they knew you were here. But yeah, no deaf theater per se. I think at this point, it really is Deaf West, and that's it. I don't know of any other standing theater company other than Deaf West. Do you know of any others that are sort of ongoing deaf theaters? Don't know. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know who that is. Yeah, I know who it is. I don't know him, but I know I've seen him then. Oh, yep, 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 yep. That's right. Yeah, I know the name and that's it. So he runs the one in Austin. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I know who that is. That's why I know his face. Mixed
Um,
blood.
what is
MIST, mixed blood. I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens with this improv thing on Thursday. I know pretty much everybody except for two people in the promo I don't know, and they're both younger. And so to me, the idea that there are some younger deaf folks that are interested is nice because I think those of us who've been around for a long time and even have been through a couple of the deaf theaters here um, would love to see some new talent decide what they want to do. And I think these days too, you don't have to start a whole company. You can just do shows because we have enough rental houses here that if you can put a show together and somehow come up with enough money to put it on, we've got places to do it. So it's like one show a year or one show every other year is plenty to do. Um, I think once the COVID thing is over, there's some amazing arts board funding in this state because Nick and it's Nick and I used to do a summer institute that was sort of improv theater based. Actually, it was um, all work from Theater of the Oppressed, and I don't know if you're familiar with the Theater of the Oppressed work that was done in Brazil. Um, that was my master's degree, was studying about theater of the oppressed. And so it's taking improvisation and specific improvisational um, activities to explore issues of oppression and power. So it's generally done in communities where you have two groups that are dynamically different in power structure. And it's theater techniques that you can bring them together to have them explore that. So that was my master's work. And then Nick and I formed a group that ran a summer institute for, I don't know, 9, 10 years, doing 2 weeks of this work with deaf and hearing people. And I did the business manager for that. And I used to write and get a grant every year from the State Arts Board that helped pay for half of it. And I was never an organization. I was never formal anything, but I just did it by cobbling together grant money. I was able to use some of the places at St. Kate's because I was teaching there. And so it's possible to put something together. You just need an administrator to be able to do it. But it was pretty amazing. Minneapolis and St. Paul, basically, it's the Twin Cities. Apolis, Minneapolis. Don't ask me, it's a really weird thing. I think Chicago's number two. It's like Chicago's number two, and then yeah, you're right. Then LA, but then also there's a lot of great stuff going on in Seattle because Howie and Billy Seago are out there doing just some really cool stuff. Howie and Billy Seago, Howie, name sign, and Billy, yeah, his brother are doing some. I know Howie just put something together 2 years ago, did an all deaf show in Seattle, but I don't know like connected to whom or anything. Yeah, I worked with him. I've spent, I think, 3 or 4 times I've gone out to the Oregon Shakespeare Festival to interpret shows because they do these interpreted weekends that are amazing. And so the first year I was there was Howie's next to last year there. So I went 2 times while Howie was still there. And then the last time I went, Monique was there, Momo. Monique Holt, Holt. So Momo was there last time I was there. And I know that Howie was with the company for like 6 years. He made a huge difference out there. I agree.